So, hello, magandang gabi ulit sa inyong dalawa, Miss Michelle and Miss Crisella. I am Jahan Marie D. Opena. I'm a social worker by profession, so I once worked at ECPAT Philippines. So, ECPAT Philippines is a non-government organization that caters to, advocates against commercial sexual exploitation of children. So, yung commercial sexual exploitation of children ay may iba't ibang forma. Ito ay yung child prostitution, child pornography, and trafficking of children for sexual purposes. So, nagsimula talaga ako sa ECPAT as a youth advocate. So, bata pa lang ako, I was privileged, no? I was privileged to be given an opportunity to be introduced to such advocacy. And then since then, no, dun naantig yung puso ko na, yes, I wanted to be part of this cause. So, yeah, and then after that, like after ko graduate ng social work, I was again given the privilege to work as a social worker in their shelter. So we cater girls who are survivors. We call them survivors because it's more empowering, no? Survivors who are survivors of C-sex. So usually mga teenagers yung mga nandun, no? So mga iba't ibang girls naman. So we cater at most 15. So minsan lumalagpas kami depende sa need. So we give them temporary shelter, no? Kasi usually kung saan sila um dun yung cause ay dun nangyayari sa lugar nila yung abuse. So they need temporary shelter, so we give them protection. We also give them their basic needs, kasama na yung pagkain, medical needs. So if they may mga toiletries, no, minsan clothing then. So if they need medical also, like if depende no kung ano yung kailangan nila na need. It's either sa physical or sa mental, no? So we really assist them, and we also assist them in their legal. Kung gusto nilang magkaso, though we really advocate for them na to file a case, no? Para part din sa recovery and healing nila. So we also do that. So depende kung ano yung need nila. So in summary, we give them temporary shelter, medical assistance, legal assistance, psychosocial support, and we also partner with other NGOs, no, na nakakatulong sa kanila to provide other support services kasi very limited naman yung aming resources. So we really make a point na to partner other NGOs. Okay, we also believe na um kailangan namin ng tulong ng iba't iba kasi hindi namin kaya as one NGO. Tapos, nung pandemic, nung year 2021, that was 2018 nung napasok ako sa ECPAT Philippines. The year 2021, it was pandemic. So, I really decided to go home kasi Quezon City yon. Tapos, umuwi ako sa Bohol. So, I'm now working at International Justice Mission, still an NGO working against online sexual exploitation of children. So I continued my advocacy for online sexual exploitation. So sa aming NGO ngayon, kung kami sa ECPAT Philippines, we advocate, we campaign against commercial sexual exploitation. Ngayon naman, we still advocate pero sa pamamagitan ng strengthening the justice system. So tinuturuan namin yung mga social workers, mga police, mga lawyers, no, paano mag-prosecute. So kung noon, no, we really empower children, and we really think that is still important. Ngayon, para kapag magsusumbong yung mga bata, no, they report, we ensure na yung mga magtatanggap ng mga reports, like nasa barangay, mga teachers, mga social workers, marunong sila mag-handle kung paano kung may magsumbong sa kanila. Kasi karamihan no, na-discourage yung ating mga survivors or victims of abuse na magsumbong dahil hindi marunong matumanggap yung mga pagsusumbungan. Minsan nagbi-victim blaming pa no, na sinasabi na bakit ka kasi nagsuot ng shorts, no? Bakit pa kasi ganito? Bakit ganito, no? Kung hindi ka tumabi, baka hindi ka sana naabuso. So, we really wanted to equip, no? We wanted to ensure that service providers like the shelters know, from security guards, from house parents, from social workers, even for volunteers to be really trauma-informed. So ano po ba yung ibig sabihin ng trauma-informed? No? So kung tutulong tayo kung magiging service provider tayo, may trauma lens tayo. So hindi tayo mag-judge agad-agad. At tinuturuan namin na yung trauma-informed kasi it's a way of being. Meaning, kahit hindi mo pa kilala yung taong yan, you will be sensitive. No? You will not judge them. No? Minsan, sa ating kultura kasi, sinasabi natin na, uy, ano naman, parang malandi yan kasi ganyan yung itsura niya. Wala yang respeto. But in fact, we did not know kung ano yung pinagdaanan niya, anong nangyari sa kanya. So we really make sure na we really wanted for survivors to be trauma informed kasi most likely most of the time ang mga bata na survivors of sexual abuse or exploitation, mas natotraumatize pa sila sa rescue rather than the abuse itself. Dahil sa serbisyo. So, marami sa ating mga survivors falls on the cracks, no? Kung yung mga kakulangan ng ating justice system. So, that's what we do in my my current work. So, that's me. That's my background sa work ko. Yeah. So I hope that helps you get to know me.
Why and how did you become a child advocate po?
Yeah. So gaya ng aking nakwento kanina, no. So I was privileged. Nakita ko talaga to na isang pribilehiyo kasi hindi naman lahat nabibigyan ng oportunidad na ma-invite sa isang forum. So nung I think that I was second year college back then, tapos yung friend ng mama ko, in-invite niya ako, no? Kasi nakita niya na magiging future social worker ako. So she thought that it was important for me to be exposed to commercial sexual exploitation. So in-invite niya ako, and then I was informed na, ganito pala kasi I am from Bohol. Tapos if you know about Bohol, yun, di ba, mga tourist area. So, ang alam ko lang sa Bohol, ang maganda yung lugar namin, may chocolate hills kami. Hindi ko pala alam na sa harap sa likod ng turismo, marami parang mga bata na mga biktima ng prostitution, no? Online sexual exploitation of children. So, dahil dyan, no, na-inspire ako to really work alongside fellow advocates to campaign against online sexual exploitation of children. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then then I was privileged again to be given opportunity na maging social worker sa shelter ng organisasyon na yun, which is ECPAT Philippines. Yeah.
Thank you po. Second question ko lang po is how can someone become a child advocate po?
Yeah. So, sa akin, I was parang, spoon feed na talaga sa akin. Talaga ako. And I was not even looking, Was not even looking when I was invited. Pero, kayo, mga kabataan, you can look for organizations. You can look, ano ba yung mga organization that fight against kung depende yun kung ano yung cause na gusto nyong salihan, kasi pwedeng you will fight against you will fight for the environment, you will fight for women's rights, you will fight for human rights, you will fight for ano pa ba yung right to yung students' rights. Kasi meron dyan sa school ninyo, I'm sure, kasi kaya may student body kayo. So, depende yun. And for me, kasi naging child rights advocate ako, you can search yan sa pwede kayo mag-search kung how to join. So, for example, I will really advocate for kung ano na yung meron ako, no? So, if you will search ECPAT Philippines, and yung sa Facebook, so you could message them and ask them how to join them. Ayan. Yeah. So it's really important na mag-research din kayo kung ano talaga yung pinaglalaban ng isang organization, kasi pero you can trial and error kung baga ba. Kung makalalaman mo na, ay gusto ko tong cause nila. Para sa akin to, feeling ko may ambag ako. So make sure na lang rin na hindi lang kayo magjo-join dahil yun yung uso, pero you join kasi you believe na every lives matter, no? You believe na may dignidad ang mga tao at dapat ipaglaban. Ayan. So, mga ganon na mga hugot, kung ano ba yung hugot. Depende kung anong hugot mo sa life. Ayan.
How can justice be achieved for children that were abused po?
It's a very good question. No? So, depende, no? Minsan kasi nakadepende yung hustisya sa isang bata. May iba sa kasing ang iba na yung definition nila sa hustisya is makawala sa sitwasyon, no? Kasi minsan kasi may ibang mga advocates din na most likely, 'di ba, ang hustisya is naka-associate siya sa korte. So meaning kapag nanalo ka sa korte, na-achieve mo yung hustisya. Pero most likely, no, depende yon. Ang pagkawala sa abuso, like yung bata inaabuso siya sa bahay nila. Yung mismong pag-rescue mo dun sa bata sa bahay niya, minsan hustisya na yun para sa kanya na mawala sa sitwasyon na yun. Pero we really educate our survivors, no, na it is more, it is very integral din na na-file siya sa kaso kasi baka paglaki niya mabalikan niya yung nangyari at ma-realize niya, sana kinasuhan ko yun. Pero this is to educate you also na kahit matagal na yun nangyari, pwede pa rin mag-file ng case, no? Pero ang importante nun na maalala kung ano yung nangyari, tugma pa rin yung mga nangyayari kasi alam nyo naman, di ba, walang gustong makulong. So, maraming mga perpetrators and they will really lie. No, makita nyo na mayroon din talagang mga tao na naglalay talaga, no? So, they will do their best na hindi sila makulong. So, kaya ang importante naman doon is consistent yung statements, no? Minsan kasi pag mas matagal, nakakalimutan kung kailan yon, mga pangyayari. So, ayun. So, ano ba yung question mo again? How can we achieve justice?
Apa.
Yes. Kaya sa work ko ngayon, no, I have come to realize na it's not enough. It's not enough to really campaign and it is very substantial, no, to empower children, especially yung mga survivors, mismo victims, to equip them kung ano bang gagawin namin kung andyan na kami sa sitwasyon. That's really important for them to educate. But we find it very important also, no, na-empower mo na to fill the gap. So, wala talagang butas, no, sa hustisya. So, importante sa amin na equip yung mga taong tumatanggap ng reports. No? Alam nila kung anong mangyari, no? Ano yung gagawin nila. Like, for example, yung sinabi ko kanina, yung mga pulis, alam nila kung paano imbestigahan, alam nila kung ano yung mga batas na nagpo-protect sa mga bata kagaya lamang ng online sexual exploitation of children. Yung mga barangay mismo, no? Kasi minsan yung sa barangay, inaareglo na lang nila na mag-ano na lang kayo, mag-agree na lang kayo dyan, hindi sila nagpa-file ng case, which is a very big no-no. No? Meron ding ang mga social workers hindi trauma-informed, parang, ikaw na naman? No? Hindi ka ba natututo? So, we really find it important for service providers to be really equipped. No? Alam nila kung anong mangyayari, saan sila pupunta, at ano yung mga batas na nag-protect, no? Mga judges, no? Mga lawyers, alam nila kung saan. Like sa police, no? Kung hindi sila marunong mag-investigate, most likely mahihirapan silang mapanalo ang kaso. Ang social workers, kapag hindi sila marunong mag-handle ng case, most likely yung bata hindi maghihilom. no? Kapag yung psychologist hindi trauma-informed, hindi maganda yung mga pananalita, most likely yung bata hindi mag-heal. Kasi at the end of the day, yung pinaka-goal natin pag mag-rescue ng survivors, mag-rescue ng victims of abuse, is sila ay maghilom, mag-survive. Kaya minsan kaya sinasabi ko kanina na iba't iba yung definition ng justice ng iba't ibang tao. So meron kasi ibang tao na kapag pinilit mo mag-file ng kaso, baka mas detrimental pa yun sa kanila kaysa sa paghilom nila. So ganon. So yeah, malaki siyang isa siyang malaking malaking problema na dapat i-solve kasi dapat maraming community, no? Even our senators. Kaya it's very important for us to really choose government officials na nakakaintindi kung ano yung mga pinaglalaban natin. Kasi sila yung pumapasa ng batas eh. Kapag walang batas, no? Mahihirapan tayong mapoprotektahan yung mga biktima ng abuso. So, it's a multi-organizational effort. So, tayo lahat may contribution sa pag-achieve ng justice. Yeah, kasi kahit maghilom na yung bata, bumalik na siya sa mga communities nila, kung tayo, binubuli natin sila, may stigma tayo sa kanila, mahihirapan pa rin sila maghilom. So, it's important for us to really provide an environment that facilitates healing and recovery. So we really believe na dapat trauma-informed tayong lahat. Ayan.
How can we ensure that all children get the help they need, no matter their background is po?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Miss Crisel. Again, it's ang laki talagang effort na dapat simulan, no? Kasi first and foremost yung sinabi ko sa inyo na service providers. Sino ba yung mga service providers? Yung mga frontliners. Sila yung mga tinatawag nating tumatanggap ng mga reports, kagaya ng sa barangay, mga teachers, mga magulang mismo, no? Natawag natin yan na duty bearers, di ba? Sila yung may obligasyon na protectionan tayo. So, main duty bearers, yung government, no? Mga social workers, mga teachers, adults, no? Alam ba natin na pwede tayong maging duty bearer na din? May mga responsibilidad na din tayo. So, yun yung dapat i-equip natin, no? Para maging marunong sila tumanggap ng mga reports, alam nila kung saan pupunta, at alam din nila na may responsibilidad pala sila, no? Kasi kapag lahat ng service providers they are equipped, mas malaki yung chance na ma-achieve maprotektahan natin yung mga tao kasi prevention is better than cure, no? Mas malaki ang gastos kapag maghi-heal sila, kasi sa pag-heal dapat natin sila bigyan ng temporary shelters, and it costs millions, no? Magsweldo ng social workers, house parents. Kaya importante yung prevention. So paano ba yung prevention? So may tinatawag din tayo na in addressing such crimes like this, importante na maging gender sensitive tayo. Kasi ano ba yung magiging root ko? Ano ba yung root cause ng sexual abuse, no? Or even different kinds of abuse, 'di ba? Nangyayari yung abuse kasi may imbalance ng power. May inaabuso niya yung isa, 'di ba? May hindi balance. So inaabuso niya yung tao. So usually 'di ba ang mga naabuso, according sa study, hindi lang to haka-haka, na usually ang mga naabuso, bata at mga babae. At ito yung tinatawag nating marginalized sector. Yung marginalized sector, di ba, sa margin, sa bond paper, margin, na-imagine nyo ba yon? No? Sila yung mga nasa gilid. Usually, hindi nakakatanggap ng serbisyo. Usually, may mga bias tayo sa 'di ba, dapat ang babae ganito, dapat ang mga bata ganito. So at usually mga lalaki na mas taas yung ating mga pananaw sa kanila. So dahil ganun yung paningin ng society, ini-enable natin yung mga perpetrators to abuse others. If ina-unlearn natin yan, meaning inaalis natin yung sistema natin at inaano natin na dapat equal yung lahat ng tao. 'Di ba? Kung meaning nirerespeto natin lahat despite yung kulay ng buhok, despite kulot ka ba or straight ka ba, no? Kasi minsan nagiging bias tayo din dahil sa kulay ng ating skin, no? Or kung ano yung social status, mayaman or dahil mayaman siya, mas ina-accommodate natin siya. Dahil maputi siya, mas ina-accommodate natin siya. So mga biases na yun, yung maraming mga lalaki nag-a-abuse kasi yung paningin lang nila sa mga bata or mga babae ay isang object, hindi tao yung tingin nila, no? Kaya nangyayari yung it starts with really campaigning about equality, equity, and doon paano ba natin tinatrato, paano ba natin pinapakita na equal tayo sa lahat? By respecting, 'di ba? By listening, by empathy, no? By providing love and care. So, if we start there, most likely, di ba, wala nang naaabuso ng mga tao. So, tayo mismo may ambag, no? If hindi natin enable like pareho na mapambubuli, kapag tayo mismo nagsisimula na hindi okay yan, no? Most likely, hindi madideter yung hindi mangyayari yung mga pang-aabuso if we create a community that really is that provides support, love, and care. Less likely mag-occur yung, di ba, less crimes, less abuse, no? Less death, di ba? So it really starts, no, para parang nagle-level off din kayo ng ini-interview mo. So yeah, I hope this is ayan. So ayun, thank you for entrusting me. Thank you for choosing me as your resource person. I really appreciate that, and I really hope that that will inspire you, at the same time that will really you really get to learn from me, kasi ako marami pa rin akong dapat matutunan, no? So I hope that magiging basis niyo yun kung ano ba yung mga thesis ninyo or ano ba, whatever it is, kung paano siya makakatulong sa endeavor ninyo. Ayan. So I really pray for the best, and I know God will be with you. Hindi kayo nilagay ng Diyos dyan ng walang rason. So I really believe that you will be successful in your endeavor. Yan. Yeah, ano ba yon? Don't stop learning, because life don't stop. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Ingat kayo, Ate Mitch. Ingat. God bless sa inyong mga activities pa sa school.
Thank you so much po, Ms. Kapati. So, yan. We are first year college of National Teachers College, and these are my teammates. So, we are conducting interviews for ethics, and the objective of this interview is to know the perspective of a child advocate on certain issue about children, which includes child abuse, child safety, and equal access for all children in the country. So, I'll introduce myself po muna. First, my name is Michelle Lores, and these are my teammates. You can go ahead and introduce yourself, Miss Estrellado.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hello, good afternoon po. My name is JLPD Mapat.
Hello. Good afternoon sa inyong lahat.
Ayan po. Pwede po ba kayo magpakilala po, then Miss Kapati?
Ay, sige. My name is Maria Angela May Kapati. I am a registered social worker, and right now I am working in K&K Children Without Borders as a head social worker, or the center head of the facility.
Thank you so much po. We know that you are very busy with your schedule, and yet andito po kayo ngayon, letting us to interview you. So, yep, we can go ahead and start for the question.
I'm Crisela Jean Estrellado from BSP 1.2 po. So, this is my first question po. What is your advocacy po?
Right now, my advocacy literally focuses for the children, women and children, but right now my most priority is the children itself. So this is why I advocate for the child rights, though I advocate also for the human rights, but the main part is I always focus on the child rights. Kasi parang aanin mo yung human rights if nababaliwala din yung karapatang pambata. Kasi they are growing up also. So this is what my advocacy is.
Thank you po. And second po na ask ko po is why and how did you become a child advocate po?
Siguro nag-start siya because my first work is focus on the corporate social responsibility. So, I work with the scholarship program that focus for a college student. So, kumbaga mga youth na siya. And then later on, as I go beyond my career profession, I realizes that maybe I need to transfer from a different field, no? Parang there is a need na parang need ko mag-explore further sa career ko. And siguro kasi, nung nagka-college din, yung field talaga na gusto ko ay sa mga bata. So, with the earlier exposure in working with street children before, I transferred in ECPAT Philippines that caters children, specifically girls that are experience abuses. So, doon na siya nag-start na nag-continuous ako to work with children and to participate in every campaign awareness and advocacy programs and activities also.
So for the third question po, how can someone become a child advocate?
Siguro doon sa question mo right now, everyone can be an advocate, especially for children talaga. But what makes you to become a child advocate is, syempre dapat may puso ka para sa bata. Lagit-lagit sa bata. Mahirap ilaban yung karapatan nila kung ikaw mismo violator ka ng rights nila. So, for you to become a more child rights advocate, you need to go deeper. Maging bata ka. Kasi lahat tayo naging bata eh. So we know ano yung difference ng generation, my generation to your generation and to this generation right now. Sobrang laki nung gap. So you need to go beyond on their stories. Kumbaga, kung kailangan mong tignan yung nasa laylayan, go with it. But, yun nga, for you to become an advocate, syempre, unang-una, hindi ikaw yung violator itself. Kasi, ang hirap maging advocate kung ikaw mismo, sige, laban ka ng rights nila, pero you are a violator itself. Saka siguro kasi for you to become an advocate also, you need to be more knowledgeable na you grow older as you have a professional drive. Kumbaga, syempre, social worker ako. So, may tungkulin kami. So, ako ay duty bearer. So, gano'n. Parang doon nagsimula kung paano yung paano ka magiging child rights advocate.
For the first question po, second to the last, how can justice be achieved for children that...
Okay, sa question yun na pang-apat. Tama ba? How can justice be achieved for children that were abused, right?
Yes po. Yes po.
Siguro, for us to achieve this kind of justice for these children, no, na abuse, I can say na dapat, kasi yun nga yung reality, weak yung justice system natin sa Pilipinas. But what we can do for them to achieve the justice is, syempre, if ikaw yung frontliner na nag-receive ng report, what you can do is to provide ilatag mo lahat ng mga help na pwede nilang gawin. Like, filing of the case, you may encourage them to file the case. Hindi na pwede sa sistema na, ay, wag ka na lang magsumbong or wag ka na lang mag-file ng kaso because sometimes kasi may mga abuse na hindi naman nila gusto mag-seek ng justice. May mga abuse naman din na what they literally want right now is to heal from the said abuse. So for them to get the justice is first, you need to know ano yung gusto mangyari ng victim or ng survivor. Do they want to to get a justice first, or they want to focus on their healing. And also, as you go along, it's a literally no that you will decide on their behalf. What we can do is always let them see the situation and let them decide on their own. Kasi minsan, they don't want to have this feeling of nababypass. So may mga justice kasi na type of justice na they can go along the justice system, but may justice na nag-heal sila through healing talaga, through recovery. From it kasi they can say, heal na, nakuha ko na yung justice ko kasi naging okay na. Ganon. So there's a lot of aspect that we can think about, but we need also to better or to seek the opinion of the survivor itself. Ano ba talaga yung gusto nila?
Thank you so much po, Ms. Kapati. So, kumbaga parang hindi tayo yung magda-decide sa kung ano yung mas makabubuti sa kanila, kundi sila yung dapat nagda-decide kung ano yung mas nakabubuti para sa kanila at some point. Yun, we can guide them po, ganun.
Yes, we can guide them. Kasi parang hirap na parang, kunwari, in the first reporting system, they told you, na-abuse po ako. Siyempre, automatic response ng tao, tara na, mag-file na tayo ng kaso. But this is not the story about the filing the case. It's all about the dignity of the survivor. And yung kahihiyan na konsepto Di wag na po nakakahiya, 'di ba? So, we need to further counsel talaga si the child or the survivor talaga. We need to verify first. Kasi baka mamaya kakatulong natin, minsan na out of way talaga yung help with the survivors or the victims of abuse.
Thank you po sa answer. Last na po na question ko. How can we ensure that all children get the help they need po? No matter their background is.
For me, para makakuha talaga ng mga bata yung mga tulong that they deserve is, unang-una, we need to go beyond. Alam ba nila, to ask the question, alam ba talaga nila yung mga rights nila? Because sometimes they don't know what their rights is. Kaya hirap silang magkaroon ng access na, pag na-violate ako, ito yung angkop na dapat kong isik na assistance. Because they don't know that. What we can do right now is to have a continuous dissemination of information about their rights, on what they can do if ganito na yung situation na na-experience nila, where they can go to. Because lagi kasi ma-emphasize sa kanila, rights holder kayo Lahat ng adult na nakikita nyo around you, duty bearer yan sila. Kumbaga, you have the right na maningil, you have the right to complain. Kasi nga nakasad naman siya sa lahat ng international local laws na lahat ng adult or working in the society or may position sa society, they are the duty bearer, and lahat ng bata ay mga rights holder. So they have the capacity na to know their rights, and to, as from there, malalaman nila, ilalatag talaga nila yung through that continuous awareness raising na ito yung mga serbisyong para sa inyo. Kasi yun yung nakikita ko talagang kulang lack tayo sa dissemination of information, especially for this matter.
So for the ang next pong magka-question sa inyo is si Miss Makalam po. Ayun po. Thank you po sa answers ninyo.
Thank you then.
Hello po, Miss Kapati. So, my first question would be, are the laws in our country enough to reduce child abuse?
If you want a good answer, I can say that the Philippines already have a lot of laws for the children. We have sobrang dami. Kung titignan ninyo, ang dami nating laws para sa mga bata. This is all are in line with the UNCRC, the local laws, the international human rights. Sobrang dami nating laws. That probably only if talaga na i-implement siya properly, we can say na kaya natin ma-reduce yung child abuse But right now, with this existing laws, I can say na makakatulong to for us to reduce the cases of abuses in the Philippines, especially for the children. What we can do right now talaga is for them, I hope na sana ma-review nila yung lahat ng laws na meron tayo.
Kasi ang daming laws na na-overlap na. We have the 7610, tapos pag may specific abuses to the children, hindi mag-apply sa 7610 kasi may certain law pa na naka-activate for the children. So sobrang dami, I can't say na kaya nating ma-reduce. Kasi hindi naman din lahat ng tao alam yung mga batas. Ay, may batas pala na pag ganito ginawa sa akin, we can file it. Siguro din, right now yung status kasi ng laws natin is weak yung yung implementing rules and regulation natin. And also with that, hindi siya ma-achieve yung less reported cases for children abuses. Kasi nga, kailangan ma-strengthen sana yung laws kasi sobrang weak ng laws natin. Even na naka-specify naman doon anong pwedeng gawin ng government itself, especially the governing body, hindi nagagawa eh. Kaya mapapansin ninyo, pag abuse na yung bata, siya yung survivor, siya yung victim, bakit natakot si survivor or victim mag-seek ng justice? Kasi nga, hindi ganun ka-safe yung justice system or yung even the laws itself. Kasi nga, laging nakapabor ang batas kung sino yung mapera sa hindi. Lagi nakapabor ang batas, kahit na-abuse yung bata, nakapabor yung batas sa Filipino family context natin. Lalo na kung ang perpetrator mo is inside the family, yung kahihiyan na concept, hindi tatay mo yun wag kang mag-file ng case, diba? So, hindi siya kahit nakasad naman siya sa batas, hindi kasi siya properly implemented. Kaya, mahirap sabihin na we can, probably siguro talaga, yun nga yung sasabi ko, kung mai-strengthen, ma-review, or mapag-aaralan siya further, baka sakali malilas yung cases natin ng child abuse. But right now, I cannot say na talagang kaya ng batas natin. We are good at it. Marami tayong batas for the children, pero hindi ito yung nakikita kong path na probably ma-achieve natin yung ganong goal talaga.
Thank you po. For the second question, how can we encourage a child to speak up if something makes them feel uncomfortable or unsafe?
Ako social worker na ako ng taon. Parang ang sobrang hirap magsabi sa bata na, pag na-abuse ka, magsabi ka lang na ito yung next person. It's very difficult, but what we can do is continuous lang talaga yung mga campaign awareness for the children, imparting their rights, encouraging them na where to report. Yun yung kailangan na baseline eh. Though they know na mali yung ginawa sa kanila, pero minsan ang the biggest question is, saan kami magsusumbong? Is my family is legible enough na mag-receive nung sumbong ko? Or if I will report it to certain people, makatutulungan ba ako? So, I think what we can do is always encourage them na kung may mga, yung personal safety na tinatawag nga natin is, dapat din sila maturuan doon sa mga negotiable and non-negotiable nila para alam nila na yung ginagawa ng taong to is no longer tolerable. And also to emphasize the reporting system. Saan sila pwedeng mag-report? Like maituro sa kanila, pwedeng sa teacher, pwedeng sa community level, pwedeng naman sa family kung ang perpetrator is outside the family, pwedeng sa friends as long as si friends ay hindi naman gagamitin yung kwento nila just to masiraan sila, di ba? Or gawing against them. So, pangatlo din siguro din, yung continuous, sana ma-involve din yung mga faith-based organization. Kasi medyo conservative pa tayo sa aspetong ganito, di ba? So, hindi pa sila masyadong na-involve on that na they can also extend help for the survivors in receiving a report. Na they can be also a legible source na pwedeng magsumbong sa authority, ganyan. So, also is continuous talking to these children through peer-to-peer support. Yun yung pinaka-importante din. Pagka bata sa bata, kasi pag sila nagkukwentuhan, nagkakaintindihan eh. Pansinin nyo, pag yung bata ang kausap is hindi naman niya kapwa bata, hirap talaga sila magkwento. Even you, the adult person, will have a difficulty to extract information from these children. Kasi nga, ang laging thinking nila, ang una kong violator sa sitwasyon na to, adult. So, why I should tell you this kind of story? Ang nagsira ng trust ko is an adult one. Kaya nga, right now, ini-encourage din namin sa mga advocacy campaign na magkaroon sana ng peer-to-peer support. Like what ECPAT Philippines have right now. They have this peer-to-peer counseling peer-to-peer support for children na na-abuse, they can report it. Then, ang magre-receive is the bata, then kapwa nila bata. Saka lang papasok no si duty bearer from that.
Thank you for that wonderful answer po. For my third question, can you share a memorable experience as a child advocate?
Siguro yung sa akin as a child rights advocate talaga, one of my memorable experience talaga is, I have these two clients before. They are a victim of traffic victims from, kasi ang ingredients kasi ng trafficking, 'di ba? Pag may intention to travel the person from a specific place to another place. And then, yun nga, pinangakuan ng trabaho, pero ang ending, hindi naman ganito yung ginawa. So, siguro one of the story yun as a child rights advocate, kasi I was able to track their own families back in the province. I was able to coordinate with the local authorities back in their province and also here in Manila. And lastly, we were able also to reach out to the DSWD for them to help us also na maipasok sila sa Balik Probinsya program. Because most of the cases ng mga traffic kasi medyo critical pero yun yung siguro one of the child rights advocate na parang naiano na namin sa mga bata na next time, pag may nangako sa inyo ng trabaho, wag kayo agad maniniwala ng trabaho sa Manila. Kasi ito yung realidad. And they were able to understand na, hindi pala siya tama na ginagawa. Kumbaga yung ginawa sa amin is like, parang panloloko, ganon. Yung parang kinain na yung sistema namin kasi nga bata kami, syempre, they are easily pwedeng mauto, 'di ba? Kasi nga pera yung usapin. But with this kind of work as an advocate for children's rights, we were able to impart them some knowledge. Ano yung mga red flags that they should look into, especially kung taga-probinsya ka. Ito yung red flags. Pag may nag-offer sa yung work, what they can do right now, or sana sila magre-report.
Thank you so much, Ms. McCallum. So, thank you so much, Ms. Kapati, by the way, for sharing those knowledge that actually natututo din po kami as of the moment, na-adapt din po namin yung knowledge na as of the moment, and we will make sure that actually we are an adult already, we will make sure na magagamit namin to at some point if someone needs it or need this kind of assistance from us. Thank you so much. So, okay, we can go to the next question. My first question is, what are some ways we can make sure that all children feel safe at home, school, and in the community?
Siguro unang-una is to have an open communication with the children. Especially sa household. Sa Filipino context natin, bihira yung parents in the way back generation that they will ask their children how was school, or kamusta ka outside, anong nangyari sa'yo for the whole day. Yun yung lack of communication that lead to, for some children, not to disclose what happened to their day-to-day activities. Yung pala minomolas niya na yung bata outside, hindi makapagkwento kasi wala naman nangangamusta. The second one is to provide a safe environment where iwasang maging emotional punching bag talaga yung mga bata. If away lang ng parents, don't involve the children. Because the tendency of these children, if they already saw or witnessed this kind of like set up in the family, that like for example the domestic abuse, away na away si nanay tatay, sigawan ng sigawan, or sometimes they become an emotional punching bag ng certain parents. Ayan talaga yung yung magulang, yung tatay mo ganyan, or yung nanay mo ganito ganyan. The tendency is they will no longer feel safe at home kasi nga they will tend to dito na lang ako sa labas kasi pag mga ganitong oras nag-aaway si parents ko or bubungangaan lang ako ng parents ko. So, that's the second one, to have an open environment. The third one is, for the school setup, I hope they can fully implement the child protection policy aspect. Kasi yun yung kulang. Yung ibang school, they have their own CPP standard procedure. Okay, may abuse inside the school, what they wanted to do. sana ma-implement yun. Kasi yun nga yung sinasabi ko kanina, nagiging chismis. Like, inabuso na nga yung bata dahil sa chismis mong ikakalat, or kumbaga nare-abuse uli yung bata. Parang yung term na sinabi nila, ni-rape na nga, nire-rape mo pa. 'Di ba? So, the one is for us also to provide a better environment for the children is yun nga, always change the questioning of anong problema mo, but change it to the context of what happened. Because pag tinanong mo kasi anong problema mo, the child will tend to become more defensive and no longer tell you ano yung totoong concern niya. But change it to the concept of what happened. Because from that question, there is a feeling of the child will, okay, itong taong to nagtanong sa akin, parang interested malaman ano talaga yung kwento. And also, treat them as a child. Bata sila. Because the moment we tell them, ang tanda-tanda mo na, kasi yun nga yung nagiging konsepto, diba? Nakakalimutan ano yung totoong definisyon ng bata. Pagtungtong kasi ng 17, ang laging kinaterm talaga ng mga tao, ang tanda-tanda mo na, hindi ka pa nag-iisip. So the tendency, the child, okay, 17 ako, di na pala ako bata, mag-aakaw ako as a child. So yung mga ganong statement kasi is na-overlook din ng mga tao around them. Kaya na tendency, na-adapt nila. Kasi napaka-powerful nung brain ng tao eh. At hindi pa fully develop ang brain ng isang tao until they reach the age of 25. So whatever information, wordings that you throw to the child, they have the tendency to adapt with it and to live with it. Yun nga, especially yun yung sinasabi namin na mahirap mag-provide ng safe environment kung lagi ang konsepto, kasi ano mo yan pamilya mo yan, ganon. So the child will have the difficulty to have a shift of mindset. Lalo na kung perpetrator, let's say, kapatid or tatay, di wag ka na mag-file ng case kasi tatay mo yun eh. Siyempre si bata, dahil bata siya, ang mindset niya, oo nga no, pag nag-file ako ng case, sino magtatrabaho sa amin? Tas magagalit yung nanay ko, ganyan, mawawala ng yung mga kapatid ko. So, an open communication will be the biggest way of knowing your children. Providing a safe environment, kung mag-away yung magulang sa isang place na hindi makikita ng bata kasi this is the start that they will have that kind of cycle. Also, have a standard CPP protocol talaga from the inside the school, the barangay itself, how they will handle children itself. Siguro din for them to be more for us to further protect this kind of children is whatever they tell you, sana hindi siya ginagamit against them. Kasi yun yung nagiging konsepto natin eh. Pag once may nalalaman tayo sa isang tao, we will gonna use it all along para ipanglaban sa kanila. And siguro din yung magkaroon sana ng shift from corporal punishment to positive parenting. Hindi kasi siya workable yung corporal punishment for these children. And positive parenting will help them to become more medyo gentle yung parents ko. I will tell them everything kasi gentle si parents. If they saw how the open communication is helpful, they will now more become an open book to the people around them. Hindi sila mahihirapang magkwento or magsabi.
Oh, thank you so much, Ms. Kapati, for that. Yeah, I do really agree actually na yung kung ano minsan yung pinapakita ng parents natin is nagiging reflection siya ng action ng anak natin. And yeah, agree ako actually doon. And thank you so much for advice po yung mga pwede pang gawin ng schools para ma-improve pa sila moving forward. Kasi totoo po, minsan hindi natin katulad actually mas marami tong ganito sa sa high school, yung mga perpetrator sa high school sila mas marami. Sa elementary marami din pero sila yung hindi gaanong halata, pero sa high school kasi doon na nag-start na nagbo-bloom yung mga bata. And ayun po, sana mandinig tayo moving forward na mas maging enhanced pa yung mga schools to protect the children. So, siguro po, ito na po yung last question. And, okay, the last question would be, why it is important for children to have the power to make decisions about their own bodies even at their young age. Kasi po, di ba, like, kapag kunwari, ako, let's say, 5 years old ako, tapos may tito ako. Tapos, kunwari, hindi ako comfortable na kumandong sa tito kong yon. Pero sabi ni mama, tito ko naman daw yun eh, wala namang gagawing masama yun. So, yun po. That's the question po.
That's a reality, going back to sabi ko. Iba yung generation before sa right now. Especially for the yung mga first-time parents in this generation, they have the gentle parenting style that they will tell their children na, hindi ka pwedeng kumandong kay tito mo yan, tita mo yan. Hindi mo pwedeng ipahawak yung mga private parts mo. Hindi mo pwedeng, pag hinawakan ka lang sa dede, magsabi ka kaagad kasi hindi siya, But way back, they have, kasi yung konsepto ng kahihiyan and whatsoever na, tito mo yan, yung thinking mo naman medyo malaswa, diba? But, yun nga, going back, it's very important to impart or to empower these children and to emphasize the child participation and to listen with their voices. Kasi ngayon yung sinasabi sa UNCRC, diba, na dapat they have the right to say what is allowed and what is not. They have the power to say no. Kung hindi sila komportable, then we need to respect that. And also, yun nga, it takes a whole village kasi to raise a child, diba? So, mahirap magpalaki ng bata kung sa ilang tao ng village na yun, majority is a perpetrator itself, diba? Or yung mga, or at some point, a person that can possibly harm the child. So, yun yung sinasabi namin lagi sa mga bata at sa mga adult din every time I speak with them na listen to your child. Hindi kabawasan kung makikinig ka sa mga sinasabi ng bata o ng anak mo. Pangalawa, bata man yan, nagpa-function yung brain nila, they have the capacity to think, to tell you what is right and what is wrong. They have an eye to see na hindi na normal yung nakikita nila. They have an ears that they can identify na yung wordings na binasabi mo sa akin ngayon is no longer acceptable and dignified and no longer acceptable and at some point kabawasan sa dignidad ko or degrading sa pagkatao ko bilang bata. And also, whatever decisions they have, if they say, ayoko pong maging ganito, we need to listen to them. Kasi in the end of the day, if we fail to comply with this kind of nung mga sinabi ko, the tendency, the child will adopt this kind of behavior hanggang sa paglaki nila and it will become a more cycle. Especially when they create their own families. They will become more authoritarian na, hindi, makikinig ka lang sa akin kasi nung bata nga ako ganito, ganyan. They will have the shift of, alam mo yung comparison. Kung ano yung ginawa, ano yung childhood days niya going back and to now, they will gonna adapt it to their children. And they will know more bukal to compare with it. Kasi hindi naman yun yung naging sistema eh. Yun din yung lagi ko sinasabi na, yun nga, hindi naman kabawasan kung makikinig tayo sa mga bata, diba? Kasi kung tayo ay trustworthy and an adult, I think, wala sana mga abuses for children, diba? Kung nakakatulong tayo sa mga bata, probably when we will no longer receive a lot of reports na may ganitong batang inabuso inside the household, may mga batang binububog ng magulang. Kasi yun nga iba yung gap nung generation before as they grow older. Merong strict, na lumaki sa strict environment, na hanggang paglaki, ganun pa din. Until right now, as you can see, grabe yung shift, no? Grabe yung from Filipino family context, nag-shift siya ng pagiging gentle parenting. Na parang at the young age, they will emphasize na ano yung mga do's and don'ts, ano yung mga normal sa hindi, ano yung mga dapat i-tolerate ng anak nila sa hindi. And then if their child will say na ito yung sama ng loob or ito yung ito yung nararamdaman ko, the parents right now will listen and they will now compromise from it. So, yun yung nakikita ko na I think na pwedeng possibly gawin sana, or this is the type of opinion that I have na gaano kalaki yung voices of those children to be here. Kasi nga yung, like right now sa organization namin, we have the tagline of growing together. And I realize as a social worker kasi, diba, na-emphasize natin, pag ang lahat ng decision natin, ang may karapatan lang mag-say, may boses dyan, yung mga adult, a parent, a teacher, whatsoever. But in our organization and for my part, we always listen to them. Pag sinabi nilang ayoko nang sumali sa ganyang activity, then okay. We will not force you to do it. What kind of course do you want to do in your college days? Ayoko ng ganito ganyan. Dapat ganito. Hindi, ayaw namin. So, we listen also to them. Kasi nga, hindi lang yung bata natututo sa matatanda.
Kaya.
And the reality right now, as an adult, we also learn from them. Kaya minsan ako sabi ko, ay oo nga no, may ganon pala. So, minsan parang ako, pag every time konting kibot lang, tatanungin ko yung bata, anong gusto mo? Kahit pa ayaw mo yung desisyon niya, anong gusto mo? Kasi in the end of the day, may mangyari man dyan, hindi ka niya sisislihin. They will not tell you, kasalanan mo kasi ito yung sinabi mo. Diba? They will, at that point kasi, you will now teach them to be more responsible when it comes to the decision making in their lives. And what we can do as the tagline concept of growing together means, you are there physically, mentally, guiding them and supervising them, but not to the extent na panghihimasukan mo yung buhay nila. So, malaking bagay yun if we will now shift to that kind of concept of listening. Parang yung traffic light concept. Pero yun lang yung pinaka-whole point na talaga sana mabago. An open communication will help. Diba? Active participation ng bata. Pag may sinabi, we need to listen. Kung kailangan mo umupo na isang oras yun just to listen to their rants and then go. Wala namang mukawalan eh. So, yun lang. Yun lang yung answer ko sa last question.
Wow, thank you so much, Ms. Kapati. And actually, yeah, we all agree po na parang at some point, hindi lang bata yung natututo sa matanda. Actually, yeah, right now, pag nakinig pa rin kasi tayo both sides, parehas talaga may matututo eh. Kasi iba pa rin minsan na yung view na kapag matanda na siya view ng isang bata eh. And, ayan, thank you so much po, Ms. Kapati. We really do appreciate you attending our interview for today po. And before we end this po, is there any suggestion po kaya na pwede ninyong i-advise sa amin moving forward sa pag-interview po namin, ganon? Or like, ano pa po yung gusto ninyong sabihin sa amin moving forward as a social worker po?
Ako, it's a good thing. Good thing naman yung question nung nireranto ko siya. Sabi ko, baka may mga question, baka mahirapan ako sagutin. So far, wala naman. And what I like is that your question is literally go into with the children. Kasi yun yung pinakakailangan eh. Sometimes, yun yung sasabi ko kasi lagi sa amin na sana magkaroon ng consultation si government with the non-government, diba? Kasi sila yung nasa grassroots working. Pero most of the time, ng mga interviews na nakukuha namin, mga consultation, is coming from the student itself. So, why is that? So, pero I hope na may ma-interview pa kayong more related to the children. Kasi ito yung, malay nyo yung mga questions you gather will be more helpful in the future in, baka mamaya magkaroon na ng reviewing of the laws, baka mag-gather yung mga interviews nyo, ganyan, yung mga opinions sa mga na-interview nyo. And yeah, I hope you will have a better result from your interviews and sana nakatulong din kami. And ayun, sana maging child rights advocate din kayo. Mula ngayon hanggang sa mga susunod. Ganun. Kasi ito yung kailangan naming generation. Eh. From the younger ones until tumanda. Mahirap kasi pag sa amin na lang galing. Pag mga adult na yung nagsasalita about sa karapatan ng mga bata. So, yun lang.
Totoo po, na parang iba pa rin yung impact kapag galing siya minsan sa peer natin. Like,
Yes.
ganun.
Mhm.
Thank you so much po, Ms. Kapati. To my group mates, is there any questions that you wanted to ask to Ms. Kapati or any comments or message for her? Go ahead, Ms. Estrellado.
No, wala na.
Okay, sure. What about you, Ms. McCallum?
Wala rin naman po. Ano lang, interested sumali.
With regards to interested kayo sumali, we can talk about that moving forward siguro. Kasi actually, I am part of ECPAT din. So, if ever you are interested na sumali sa ECA, which is ECPAT Youth and Child Advocate, we can talk about that moving forward, if ever. So, what about you, Mrs. Troliado?
Hello, yung social worker, public ba siya? Public service.
Ah,
Government ang nagpapatakbo.
yung social work kasi is a course din siya in college that you will take for 4 years. And then if you were done with your bachelor, you can now go to taking an exam for your license. So, lisensyado siya. Then, you can work in the government, or if hindi ka makagobyerno or hindi mo pa feel ang government setup, you can now work to the different civil society organization or non-government organization that is working directly for the people and the communities itself. So, ako naman ay hindi naman ako galing sa government. More on NGO pa ako so far. But we are also have exposure in working with the governments kasi doon naman yung laging line of referral system.
Thank you so much, Ms. Actually, NGO is non-government organization if
Yes.
hindi tayo familiar. So, yeah, I think that's all for today. Ms. Kabati, thank you so much for letting us. We know na you are very busy at your work or any hectic schedule. Yet you give time for us. We really do appreciate you, and we will make sure that all the comments or all the messages will be included to our yun po, sa aming documentary. We really appreciate you today po. Thank you so much po. And that's all po. We think that we took too much of your time na po. Thank you so much, Ms. Kabati.
Thank you din sa inyo.
Thank you
Okay lang yun sa time. Walang problema.
To understand na kailangan maging involved yung community, dapat yung justice itself, makater itong mga problems na to, which is very important kasi sila din yung one of the factors that could help save these children. And then not just that, but the educational system itself, kasi you should also be able to teach this to not just adults but also kids, para aware sila na ito yung hindi pwede, ito nag-cross na ng boundaries sa ganito, this is not acceptable. Kasi minsan, pag mga bata kasi, they think it's a joke. Diba? So that also change, na-impact din yun yung thought mo na kids are supposed to enjoy their childhood. So, ayun, parang nag-shift siya na iisipin mo, parang nag-overthink ka na, is the kid okay? What you could help with? Ayun lang naman.
For the second question po, how do you prioritize which to focus on, like education, health, or abuse prevention?
I guess advocates in general often focuses on the immediate needs, like ensuring safety from abuse. Kaya usually ang ginagawa dyan when it comes to advocates na nakita nila na endanger yung bata or something, inaalis nila within that environment. So, ang ginagawa nila is the word could be rescue, they rescue it, they place them in a shelter, and yun yung pinakauna. Kasi yun yung pinaka-crucial. You're ensuring them na they are safe. That's the first thing. while also working to address yung mga root causes and long-term issues such as education and then yung mental health nila. Kasi this works hand in hand. The first thing na maano mo na yung safety nila, ano na yung gagawin mo? Kasi if you got the kid, it doesn't stop there. Kasi of course, meron silang trauma, meron silang heavy, na baggage na dinadala. So, as a response, what would you do? So, that could work in terms of you give them education, give them proper care, trust building, ganyan, and then improving overall their mental health. Each child situation, like I said, is very different. So, prioritization is usually based on the urgency, and available support system.
Ask ko lang po, Miss Jane, yung mga tao po sa expect ba yun?
ECPAT
Na dun sa houses para makaka-recover sila. Kapag naka-recover ba sila, ano yung possible na magiging buhay nila? Sa tingin na kasi may iba kasing ako napapanood na charity na nag-vlog na yung mga tinutulungan nilang bata is bumabalik lang din sa
dating
nilang
situation.
buhay. Sa dating situation. So, ano yung sa tingin mo na sa tingin mo ganun din ba yung mangyayari sa kanila or not? So, kung hindi, paano?
Actually, it differs from the child. Kasi, not every child na nire-rescue from ECPAT wanted to stay there. Sadly, there are kids na ingrained na sa kanila na that's the only life that I deserve, that's the only life that I know. So, bakit ako mag-aaral? Bakit ako kailangan ng intervention na ganito? So, sometimes, even if hindi gusto nung shelter or nung organization itself, tumataka sila. And that's very apparent. Kasi they don't like, feeling nila kasi they're in jail when they're in there. So, it's kind of sad to think actually na you're helping them and they're much more into, escape na lang ako kasi yun lang yung buhay na alam ko. So, as much as the good intentions ng organization, if yun yung, nila, you cannot force. Kasi, may happenings na ganyan na twice, thrice nang kinuha. Kasi nakatakas sila and then of course they're gonna hahanapin sila and then they're gonna rescue again. Sila na mismo nagsasabi, I don't want this life, ganyan. But in terms of your question, again, yun nga, it depends on the child. Kasi, yung iba kasi, nasa tamang age na, yun din yung masakit. Let's say, nasa 20 na sila and still, kahit nandun sila sa shelter, even after years being there, studying, having all of these activities to help them, they still wanted to go out. It's because easy money daw, ganon, na they would rather, have that for themselves para daw makatulong sa parents nila, ganon, kasi gusto nila na they're free, but actually, hindi lang nag-register sa utak nila na it affects them more when it comes to that. Now, if naman, yung mga bata stayed there sa organization, doon sa shelter, for as long as, let's say, legal age na sila, may mga iba naman na natutulungan talaga. Let's say, napunta sila doon, na-rescue sila ng 8 years old sila, and then the shelter itself will help the kid, yung parang sustain all throughout na sa kaya niya. Kahit 20, 24, pero pag umabot na sila dun sa age na they could work, the organization and the shelter itself would give them opportunities kung paano sila makakuha ng job. So, kahit makaalis ka dun sa shelter, you're already presented with these opportunities. So, hindi ka na mag-recur ulit dun sa cycle na yun na bakit ka pa babalik sa ganung buhay when you could already have these opportunities right in front of yourself.
Beside teaching those children what they should know about the world really is, what are the things they are also should consider more for their safety?
Well, beyond education for safety, it's proper to be able to malaman nila, to even learn how to identify which adults to trust when it comes to mga ganong stories. Because not all, even like nasa proper age na, would have that type of sensitivity to respond in that kind of stories. No? And recognizing unsafe situations, lalo na, minsan kasi may mga may mga kids na gano'n na para sa kanila, ay maybe this is safe. Ganun. But in reality, it's not. So, it's important na malaman nila which is which, kung saan sila safe, and then they could, not only that, but yung makapili sila ng safe environments where they could express those. And then, ayun, feeling confident to report anything that feels uncomfortable. Lalo na kasi kapag mga ganyan, you cannot really say na, ay, maliit na bagay lang yun. But for them, it's not. It's very different when it comes to them. So, syempre, may fear yung mga yan. It's very apparent na ganun. So, you should be able to, they should be able to learn to speak for themselves, like, voice it out. No, despite of whatever they've gone through, it's important na they could say na, oh, this is not comfortable for me, I don't feel good in this. Ayun. And then, building self-esteem, also plays a role, as it helps children feel entitled to boundaries and respect, which is, they are naman.
Thank you so much. Okay. The next would be, okay, what inspired you to become a child advocate?
Well, if I would, in general, I feel like many advocates are motivated by a desire to protect vulnerable children. Actually, for me, hindi ko siya naisip before. But when it was work ng mom ko, ng mother ko, it was very an eye-opening experience being there in the shelter. And akala ko kasi every child is enjoying their childhood. And for me, at a young age, hindi ko naman in-expect na magkukwento sa akin yung mga bata when I get there. I was only parang 8 or 9. I didn't know how to respond, but at that point on, parang I was driven, na the conviction that every child deserves safety and love. From that point on, sabi ko, ay, hindi pala. It's not the same for everyone. Why? Ganun. And then from that point on, I was like, yeah, I'll commit to this type of advocacy, and up until now, I still do. So, ayun. And sometimes, yung iba, in general, driven sila by their personal experience. So let's say there are advocates na galing sa ganyang situation, and now they want to use their experience and then this yung self-esteem nila and then confidence to help other kids.
How does sexual abuse affect a child's ability to have healthy relationship when they grow up?
Well, childhood abuse often disrupts trust. Kasi diba, naano ko na rin yan kanina. It is making it difficult for them to learn, to form secure attachments later in life. Yung iba, survivors, might struggle with intimacy, ganyan, self-worth, or they could develop patterns of avoidance or dependency. It really affects them kahit anong age. Kahit anong sitwasyon, like wala ngang small or big deal dun eh. It's already agad. It's a heavy baggage for them. However, with support and therapy, many can still build healthy relationships.
Ano yung reason bakit talamak yung pang-aabuso dito sa Pilipinas?
I feel like walang masyadong awareness. And in terms of sa educational system, kasi yung iba ang inisip nila na sadly parents, they're not aware that they're being used and nababaliktad sila. Lalo na this is most apparent sa mga medyo poor areas. Kasi yung usual dyan is na sila ng money. So, hindi nila, ang alam nila, usually sa ganyan, their kids is just gonna be parang a helper sa bahay, ganun. But in reality, their kids are gonna be used for other purposes. These kids are gonna be abused. Pero for them, yung iba, they're aware, pero sabihin naman nila, gusto tumulong ng anak ko. Wala na kaming makain. So, dun pa lang, they would rather put up their children to that. So, I feel like abuse is apparent in the Philippines because of one, yun nga, yung economic natin. And then second, hindi masyado nagbigay ng importance yung yung state ng mga children here. It's not the same kapag yung different na economic backgrounds. So, and minsan hindi talaga alam ng mga magulang na mali yung ginagawa nila because they're earning money. So, I feel like it's better na having these organizations, not only ECPAT, going to different places na talaga apparent yung poverty, which I've been in several years. Doon, parang same time na you're discussing these dangers, do's and don'ts, yung mga red flags when it comes to that, meron talagang lalapit sa'yo na magtatanong na, ay, paano po pag ganito yung situation? And so, doon mo makikita na, for them, hindi nila masyadong nako-consider. So, I feel like those two hand in hand plays a big part na to combat yung issue. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Maneha. We really do appreciate your time for today. Yep, actually, yung video or yung recording na to is isa sa ipapasa namin. So,
Oh my gosh!
yeah.
Alright.
Thank you so much. So, ayun na lang muna for today. We really appreciate this
Alright.
conversation.